Okay, this is a show I like to call some kind of Star Trek. So I have 13 Star Trek games that are each at least 20 years old. On a wheel, we do a spin and we go through and play what we roll up there, including switching between them at certain times. I'll change that mechanic a little, I'll show you. But in case you're unaware, I'm the Queen of Lasers. I am pretty familiar with Star Trek, so not only have I played many, many, many of these games over the years, I have read dozens of the books. I have watched almost all of the shows. Some of the recent ones have escaped me, I haven't gotten to yet. I ran a tabletop role playing game of Star Trek Adventures for 5 years that included a Klingon wedding. And I have, yes, written some of my own fan fiction. Don't ask me where it is. I don't think it's actually posted online, but I might still have it. So, last time on Wednesday, we did Starfleet Academy for the Super Nintendo, a different game than Starfleet Academy for the PC. Let's see what we have today. 13 whole games on here. Yeah, this is some of these are nuts, but they are almost all. Yeah, we definitely graduated. No. We have a little bit left there. We will graduate. We will get there. I will figure it out. If I need to put in a password to skip ahead to the senior level, I think that's probably what we'll have to do. We can look up the passwords. That means our character might change, but hey, we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so let's roll it up. Oh, goodness. Okay, and today's is Star Trek Armada. Yes, that was a good spin. So let's bring that up. Set up here. Star Trek Armada is a funny little tactics game, basically, where you're controlling, I think, a total of 4 starships in any given mission. And I think it also goes through the different time periods of Star Trek. But, hey. Okay, and we're not yet getting the sound. It's always something, isn't it? Let's watch that movie when we get the sound going. 1 second. Oh, you only ever played two. Okay. Going now? I think so.
Captain, Priority 1 message from Starfleet.
Jean-Luc, we've just received some very disturbing information about the leader of the Borg invasion.
I already know.
These are wonderful graphics.
Taral, call off this Urmang. An honorless dog like you will never rule the Empire.
That is where you are wrong, Worf. Now that I possess the sword of Kalis, the Klingon throne is mine.
I will see to it that day never comes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Look at it going again. 1 second. I pressed the wrong button.
Captain, Priority 1 message from Starfleet.
Jean-Luc, we've just...
Last time, I'm very sorry.
Captain, Priority
Hey,
1
Chef.
message from Starfleet.
Welcome. We're on our Star Trek wheel tonight. And we got Star Trek Armada.
Jean-Luc, we've just received some very disturbing information
I've
about
watched
the
some of
leader
this
of the
already.
Borg invasion.
I already know.
Taral, call off this Urmang. An honorless dog like you will never rule the Empire.
That is where you are wrong, Worf. Now that I possess the sword of Kalis, the Klingon throne is mine.
I will see to it that day never comes.
Admiral Sela, sensors confirm. It is the Omega particle.
Prepare the containment field and hail the nearest Borg vessel. Tell them we wish to negotiate a deal.
Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the Borg cube.
On screen. Locutus.
Picard, lower your shields and prepare to be assimilated.
If you are truly who you appear to be, you must know that I will not comply.
You will comply. Your defensive capabilities are no match for us. Your culture will adapt to service ours. Resistance is and always has been futile.
Initiate maneuver. Warp Theta 1.
Lock all weapons on that vessel. Fire.
Okay, that was the intro movie for Star Trek Armada. Yeah. Wow, okay, yeah, there's a lot going on here. So, right, and you can see it has a number of people in it that we like. Including, I'm not sure if that's the actual Denise Crosby voicing Sela. I would guess probably. But yeah, we also have Michael Dorn, we also have Patrick Stewart and all them. I think I've set the graphic settings on. No, I did not. I thought I changed this. Okay, come on. This is one of those that's going to be a problem if I try to go all the way to 480. A lot of these crash if you try to do it. I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm sorry, the game was pretty loud. I think this should be kind of a better mix. Okay, a lot of these crash if you try to go to higher resolutions. I've been finding that out. So if you go to 1280, then you're fine. Remember as a kid watching these kinds of wishing games would have those kinds of graphics. Yeah, the pre-rendered cutscenes. Yeah, well, takes a lot longer than it takes to watch. Here we go. Okay, and here we have, you see there are 4 campaigns, so we have to complete the campaigns in order, or just complete the Federation campaign, and the others are good to go. It's also funny, it has Locutus. Did they clone Patrick Stewart and then make a, it's not entirely clear what's going on there. We'll get to it. One other thing I want to talk here. Last time, at my last of these sessions, we played one game. I like that game, as damaged as it is, as difficult as it is, in parts, Starfleet Academy, but I kind of wanted to do a little more variation. And tying it entirely to subs, skiffs, whatever, is the only way a change happens. It means there might not be that many changes because I'm not that popular. So, I put up an automatic timer here. No, not all the way. Okay, to 40 minutes. I'll start that here as we start actually playing, and then if I get a new follow, hey, we'll add a minute. Cool. If I get a new, if there's a sub or a gift, we'll add 10 minutes. And then once we run out, we'll switch to the next game. I expect we'll go through at least 2, probably 3 games tonight before your good streamer drops dead. And go. Premonition. Yeah, maybe. Oh, look at that.
Captain's log, stardate 53550.8. With the Dominion War over and matters stabilizing in the Alpha Quadrant, the Enterprise is helping to re-establish an outpost in the Barisa sector. Though we are not expecting any conflicts, there have been rumors of renegade Dominion ships in the area who have refused to accept the Dominion-Federation treaty. The Enterprise is being sent to protect the outpost should any hostilities arise.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is just an RTS? I thought that was... I must be thinking of April. Okay. Build a starbase, build a mining station, Enterprise must survive. So, 1 second. Do we have more graphics settings here? Nope, wrong one. No, okay. Detail is all the way up. Alright, so that draw distance was just clearly awful. Okay.
All sections on standby.
And one other thing, that mouse sensitivity is garbage. Okay. Love that it flashes the desktop. Okay. Wow, and we have green, yellow, and red for each of these. I do not have much experience with this game.
Status report. Make it so.
Huh.
Status report.
Oh, hey, what? Where are you going? Hey,
All sections report.
this is something. Yeah, he said the thing. Okay, and
All
there's our
work
ship
crews
that must
report
be
to
for
station.
actually building. Yeah, as demonstrated by a Starfleet I-beam.
That is a logical request.
Okay, in my
Armed
brain,
and
I
ready.
totally confused this with a different Starfleet game, Star Trek game.
Alter
I'm sorry.
course.
Yeah, come on
All
back
sections report.
here. Or zoom out? No. Okay.
Status report. Armed and ready.
Okay. I did
Alter
not tell you to go
course.
there. Hard. Man, I just slammed into that moon. Okay. Go through these guys.
Adjust heading.
No. Alright. So that
Helm.
is just a wall.
New course heading.
2 dimensions of
All
space.
sections on standby.
Okay.
Adjust heading.
And I got this little other, that little window showing me when something else is happening.
Armed and
That's
ready.
Interesting.
Adjust heading. Adjust heading. Armed and
the
ready.
Akira class here, you might have heard discussed a couple of other places. First appeared
Alter
in
course.
First Contact.
Adjust heading.
I think they might have actually lost the model for future appearances.
Armed and
in
ready.
that movie. And it also has a bunch of
Alter course.
photon torpedo launchers, supposedly.
All sections on standby. Adjust heading. Helm. New
The
course
people
heading.
who made First Contact, they later actually
Helm,
liked the
new course
design
heading.
of the Akira class enough
Helm.
that they used
New course
it
heading.
for basically the NXL-1 Enterprise and Star Trek Enterprise.
Helm. New course heading. Alter course.
Station complete.
So how about you?
Status
Just
report.
Go out this way?
All sections on standby.
No, I cannot click there.
All
I do it
sections
like
on standby.
this. Nothing.
All sections on standby.
Okay, but I can click in the map somewhere. It just knows in advance where the balls are. Alright. Good to know.
Prepare the docking bays.
Unable to build.
Prepare the docking bays. A prudent course of action.
Okay, our base.
Station construction commencing. Station construction commencing.
Shift R, Shift Y, and Shift G are red, green, and yellow. They are. Okay, I can turn it down a little further. Or... music is not loud at all, so let's do this. And I appreciate the feedback. I'm new at this stuff. A whole 8 sound channels. I got it? Okay. Okay, I found one of the little Dominion Wolfpack ships. And just make sure I can select 2 ships at once. Destroy all Dominion ships in sector. Where's my other... there it is. Yeah? Cool. Okay. That taking power... interesting. Are they going into red and green on their own? Yeah. Yeah, the video player. So I remember that was a thing that strategy games started doing. Was it the later 2000s? Empire Earth 2 had a video player. Oh, okay. Yeah, get that going. Face. Toggles me between my guns. Okay. Hello. So, does a starbase make new ships? Dilithium freighter, which looks like we got one of automatically from building the station. Huh. And it's kind of also jumping around on its own to different things. Maybe if something happens, then it will go to that. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Anything else you can do? No. Alright, so I guess we're just gonna find the minion ships and take them out. Okay. I just held shift and right click there. We'll see if that gives them multiple orders. Yeah, Enterprise still doing fine. Yeah, Enterprise here to carry. You know, in Deep Space Nine, those Dominion ships would do, kamikazes. Oh!
This is Captain Thaddeus Deming of the USS Premonition. We are under attack by the Borg. To any ships in the area, this is the USS Premonition.
Your composure is impressive. Save the Premonition from the Borg. I wonder why they name a ship Premonition. Okay. Oh, and guys, red alert. It's not clear to me what that does. The way the health bar changes its width as the ship spins. Boy, that's a design decision.
The legendary Captain Picard. It's an honor to meet you, sir.
Captain Deming, you and your ship do not appear in the Starfleet database. Do you have an explanation for this?
That is because it does not yet exist. I've come from the future to warn the Federation of an impending Borg invasion. We must act quickly if we are to stop them.
Captain Deming, Starfleet has strict regulations which prohibit tampering with the current timeline. I have no intention of...
Captain! Within the hour, the Borg will attack and assimilate Starbase 612. Its destruction was marked as the first step in the Borg invasion that eventually took over the Alpha Quadrant. Picard, where I come from, the Federation barely exists. Vulcan, Bajor, Kronos, Earth, they're all assimilated planets. This is our last hope, Captain. If you don't help us, the Alpha Quadrant will fall to the Borg.
Very well, Captain. I will pursue this matter. Lieutenant, send a message to Starfleet Command informing them of our situation. Ensign Lucetti, set a course for Starbase 612. Engage.
The Baku system, is that from Insurrection?
Acting Captain's Log. Ambassador Worf commanding USS Avenger.
Why is this so quiet?
I have been temporarily reassigned from my duties on the Klingon home world to mediate a situation developing in the Baku system. Starfleet has given me command of the USS Avenger to deal with any hostilities that may arise. This is Ambassador Worf of the United Federation of Planets. Your presence here is a violation of Baku space. Your ships are ordered to leave the area immediately.
This space belonged to us long before the Federation came. We have come to reclaim what is rightfully ours.
Any hostile action you take on the Baku will be interpreted by the Federation as an act of war.
Very well, Ambassador.
Sir, they've raised their shields and are powering up their weapons.
Battle stations.
See if that helps.
Enemy engaged. Station is under attack.
Ready for battle.
Starship construction commencing.
Status report. Alter course. Adjust heading. Armed and ready. All sections on standby. Armed and ready.
Station is under attack.
It is a great day for battle.
And I can control one, control number, and then get to them with a number. So, USS Renown, ER2, USS Antietam.
Starship complete.
Antietam? I'm not sure.
Acknowledged. Proceed.
Enemy engaged.
Shooting course of
thank you. Sorry, working with this.
Station construction commencing.
Okay, alright, thank you. Okay, so... Okay, the ship I sent down here died.
Armed and ready.
No more Antietam.
Station is under attack. Enemy engaged.
Prepare the docking bay.
That looks like we have the
Station complete.
Confirmed, Starfleet.
Okay.
Station construction commencing.
I thought it would fine-tune the settings in the game, and I'm dumb for thinking that. Just tune it, no BS.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
Armed and ready. Armed and ready. All sections on standby.
Station is under attack. Yellow alert activated. Enemy engaged.
All work crew, report to station.
Ambassador, sensors are picking up 6 additional sonar ships in the Briar Patch.
We cannot allow the sonar to destroy this outpost.
Okay, they're taking significant damage from that red nebula or whatever. They'll be Venture Tech class and Defiant.
Starship construction
What the
commencing.
heck is a Venture class?
Acknowledged.
We'll find out.
A prudent course of action. Status report. Armed and ready.
Station construction
That's
commencing.
Special energy. Oh. But it has no special things in it. Good icon for decommission where it's just a Tetris set on the board.
All
Okay.
sections, report.
It is. Oh, it
Bring
did.
up local star charts.
Starship construction
Oh yeah,
commencing.
just crank out some more Defiance.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
Acknowledged. Set a new course.
Insufficient dilithium.
Okay.
Standing by.
USS Warspite. Okay.
All sections, report.
Acknowledged, Starfleet.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
These are both Defiant class
Starship
ships, even though it looks like
complete.
one is twice the size of the other.
Battle stations.
It even has more crew. Alright, whatever.
Standing by.
Impulse power.
Acknowledged, Starfleet.
Okay, you are our main attack.
Lay in a new course.
Go for it. Defiant and being classified.
Set a course. Go to red alert. Set a course.
What is the advantage of keeping that green alert? I might have to
Impulse
read up on
power.
this. Okay.
Helm. New course heading.
Oh, they
Helm.
can go
New course
That's
heading.
temporary. Yeah, that's some
Engines to
significant
full.
shield damage, but
Set a course.
Enemy engaged.
Standing by.
okay. Well,
Get us
yeah,
out of here.
okay.
Maximum warp. Engines to full. Engines to full.
All right, the knockoff Defiants were killed.
Lay in a new
so
course.
Good.
Impulse power.
Prepare the docking bays.
Starship complete.
Let's accelerate our
Insufficient
dilithium
lithium.
mining. I think that's key.
Enemy engaged.
It is a great day for battle.
Will do.
Station is under attack.
All sections, report. Lock all weapons.
More room in the cargo bays. Ready to work.
Warp receiving. A true warrior never retreats.
Ambassador, incoming message from Admiral Hawthorne.
Worf, we need you to return to Kronos immediately. The Enterprise has just informed us of a potential Borg invasion. If it is true, we're going to need you to rally the support of the Klingon Empire.
I understand. I will make sure Chancellor Martok and the Klingons are ready to assist the Federation. Warp out. Acting Captain's Log, Stardate 53551.6. I am taking the Avenger through the Icolis Expanse. Though it is a treacherous area of space to navigate, it should reduce the voyage back to Kronos significantly. Toral.
Twice before, you lacked the courage to kill me, Worf. You will not live long enough to get another chance. Nor will you be able to see me take my seat as ruler of the Klingon Empire.
You have no claim to the Klingon throne, Toral.
That is where you are wrong, Worf. You see, I have found the Sword of Kalis, and he who wields the sword rules the Empire.
That is impossible. You cannot have found the true Sword of Kalis. Only I know where it lies.
And that is why you must die. Once I dispose of you, there will be no one to dispute my claim.
Toral, if there is any honor in you, you will call off this Ormong before it tears the Empire apart. The Borg have returned, and this time, for us all.
It does not matter. I will not be stopped now, not by you, Chancellor Martok, or the Borg. I have waited years for this day. Your death will be forever marked as the first step of my ascension to the Klingon throne.
The Avenger is no match for a Negvar battleship. We will have to evade them in the Icolis expanse. We must get to that wormhole.
Hey, Jack. Those minimally animated cutscenes where it's just the still figures in the mouth moves and then nothing else is happening are funny. Okay, so the Sword of Kahless is from a Deep Space Nine episode where Worf and some other Klingons, and I want to say Dax, also find it, end up getting rid of it because something about it makes them go crazy and kill each other. Okay. Get Worf safely through the Icolis expanse.
Enemy engaged.
Engines to full. Lay in a new course. Get us out of here. Maximum warp. Lay in a new course.
Go through this?
Lay in a new course. Helm. New course heading. Helm. New course heading. Impulse power.
Yeah, get in that wormhole. It's nice and friendly.
Engines to full. Set a course.
And wormholes are unstable,
Impulse power.
so it'll probably go away in a bit.
Lay in a new course. Engines to full.
Oh, okay, and now we have another beacon on the map.
Get us out of here. Maximum warp.
Yeah, we're losing a few guys.
Engines to full. Lay in a new course.
It is not the Defiant, it's the
Get us out of
USS
here.
Avenger.
Maximum warp. Lay in a new course. Helm. New course heading. Engines to full.
Okay.
Enemy engaged.
No, go! Oh my god, okay, that moves.
Impulse power.
Yeah, you're about to die.
Helm. New course heading. Impulse power. Get us out of here. Maximum warp. Lay in a new course. Helm. New course heading.
Can I just tell you to go there on the map? Can you do that? No. Or
Helm. New course heading. Engines to full. Impulse power. Boarding party to take control of the derelict.
Oh, and I can take control of derelict ships.
Engines to full.
Well, got it. Okay, let's go.
Maximum warp. Impulse power.
Jeff, thank you. You know, I did not figure out exactly if the bits should correspond to a specific number of minutes. 100 bits? Let's see. What do we think? That can be 2 minutes? I am making it up as I go. Okay. Go through there? No. No? Okay.
Lay in a new
So
course.
this is why you refuse to go the other way. It's not on the
Impulse
map,
power.
but you already know what's there, so I just need to tell you to go to the wormhole. Alright, okay.
Enemy engaged.
Ambassador, Terral and his ship.
Worf is gone. That's it. So let's see here. Oop, not butts. Typing is hard. Here we go. Okay, well, let's load the game. I did not save any games, but if I go here, then we can go to the one we were just at. Okay. Why were we at Baku? The mission, the planet from Star Trek 9. Why was that? Yeah. Yeah, Chef, it's entirely me. This system with the numbers is all stuff I made up today.
Acting Captain's log. Stardate 53551.6.
Kind of. There we go.
Enemy engaged.
Alright, we'll go to the wormhole. You know the correct route.
Impulse power. Helm. New course heading.
And so it said I can seize a ship with a boarding party. Drop an antimatter bomb. And there they are. Okay. Then transport must be how I do the boarding party. Alright. Okay.
Ambassador, Terral and his ships have broken off pursuit. I'm also picking up high levels of radiation. It seems to be emanating from this derelict station.
Perhaps eliminating the source will dissipate the radiation. Fire when ready.
Enemy engaged.
Yeah, just keep dropping those guys.
Helm. New course heading.
Okay, and that's using that special energy. Okay.
Impulse power.
Great. Got
Set
it.
a course for the next wormhole. Engines to
God
full.
bless you, Michael Dorn. Set a course for the next wormhole. Okay.
Prepare a boarding party to take control of the derelict. Set a
Right.
course.
So,
Prepare an away team.
great. Now we've seized the core. Ooh, wow. Beaming the shit out of that thing.
Warp receiving.
All sections on standby.
Okay, we beamed over a crew proportional to the size of the ship, perhaps.
All sections on standby.
Alright.
Status report.
All sections, report.
Okay.
Get us out of here. Maximum warp. Engines to full. Perhaps today is a good day to die. Helm, new course heading.
Sir, sensors are detecting an abandoned starbase behind the nebula.
Prepare an away team and begin recrewing and repairing the base. Warp receiving.
Status report.
All sections, report. Energize.
This is an interesting little game, I'll say. I have zero experience with this one.
Set a course for the nearest repair facility. Impulse power.
Requesting additional personnel.
And now the starbase
Sir,
can
long-range
recruit
sensors are detecting
that
3
immediately
Klingon ships incoming.
restocks
Helm, new course heading.
a lot of. Okay. And the crew at the starbase reproduce like crazy.
Enemy engaged. Station is under attack.
They're blowing
Sir,
up shipyards.
long-range sensors are
They know how to
detecting
do it.
3
They
more
played
Klingon
Starfleet
ships
Academy.
incoming.
Status report.
Hey, Curcula. Welcome.
Starship complete.
Prepare the docking
Okay,
bays.
buddy. Let us get a ratings. Nope, we do not have enough dilithium for that, or for the shipyard. Yeah, we're hosed. Okay.
It is a great
Go on.
day for battle. All sections, report.
Okay, go for it. This is an RTS. I did not know that. Well, okay. Yeah.
Set course.
You almost made it. It failed to pathfind correctly.
Impulse power.
That's,
Get us out of here.
that's the way to
Maximum
go.
warp.
Oh, do we find
It is a
Yeah.
great day
Let's get
for
that guy.
battle.
Status report.
It is a great day for battle. Energize.
I know. So I have cleaned up the desktop also of this system. I am not using my main computer for this. I am using my old computer. And I think there's nothing on there that's damaging. But I did clean it up basically for this purpose.
It is a great day for battle.
Fortune. Alright, let's go.
Set a course.
No, I keep all my porn in different places.
Enemy engaged.
Yeah, just go. Our mission is just to get there, so just get there. Just go! That's smart, Curriculum. Yeah, okay.
It is a great day for battle. Helm, new course heading.
We've hit the timer. Let's see if we're just close
Helm,
to finishing
new
this.
course heading.
Armed and ready.
But yeah, game switch. This is me trying a different way of like
Set a
mixing
course.
up the games a little.
Impulse power. Helm, new course heading.
You will not escape me this time, Worf.
Enemy engaged.
Guys, you...
Adjust heading. Helm, new course heading.
It is a
Yep.
great day
Get out of
of
here.
battle. Helm, new course heading. Helm, new course
So
heading.
the color of the shields indicates the health of the ship, too. That is probably a good stopping point. Worf is dead. Okay, well, that was Star Trek Armada. We'll have to come back to that one. Star Trek RTS, what a weird... Oh, and Worf gets a Klingon ship, okay. And we actually have a Borg campaign, that's great. Okay. Are back here. Let me get out of this. And we'll see what comes up next. Okay. Hidden Evil. This is another weird one that I had never seen before. Yeah, okay. If you gift a sub, would I be willing to play that hardcore SNES Jurassic Park game? I think I could do that, yeah. If you gift a sub, I can make time for the Jurassic Park one. Next stream would probably be Monday. I typically do Elite Dangerous on those days. Maybe I do it Wednesday. Oh no, Wednesday is my stupid, We'll get it in. Wednesday is when I have a special thing where I am playing Kerbal Space Program while drinking with some friends. That will start at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm sorry, that was loud. Okay. Yeah, so Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, we start playing Kerbal Space Program drunk. That's with Phoenix Blue and Lila Kalkari. This is an interesting game. But let me figure out when to do that Jurassic Park, and I will definitely shoot you a message about it.
Captain's log 53343.7.
Thank you.
The Enterprise has been ordered to return to Outpost 40 inside the anomalous region of space known as the Briar Patch. 9 months ago, we aided the peaceful Baku race against the aggressions of a rebellious faction of their people known as the Sonar. They sought to drain the life-giving energy in the metaphasic rings of the planet. After their plan failed, the Sonar asked their Baku brethren if they could return to the planet and create their own colony. During construction of the new colony, evidence was found that an extremely ancient race had once existed on the planet. At the request of the Baku, I have been asked to lead an excavation of the ruins while the Enterprise undergoes routine maintenance at Outpost 40.
So, Star Trek Hidden Evil takes place immediately after the movie Star Trek Insurrection. It is, I had never seen it before, but I thought it'd be perfect for this, and I tried it out a little to teach myself how to do the controls. Let's see how much I remembered, because that was a week ago, and my memory is garbage. Yeah, why would you use a mouse? Mouse are for jerks. Mice. Mice? Mouses? Okay. And...
Ensign Sovok's personal log. Originally, I thought my assignment on Outpost 40 was the worst I could have received after graduating from Starfleet Academy. Things may be looking up, though. Not only is the Starship Enterprise coming to the station, but I have been assigned to pilot Captain Picard himself to the Baku planet. This could be my chance to be reassigned. I've been so anxious that I haven't been able to sleep, so I'm practicing my holodeck programs for a few hours. Computer, access training program 01.
Program initiated.
Greetings, Master Satan.
Ah, pupil, you have returned to your training.
Yes, patron. I think this will be the time I finally grasp the discipline.
Indeed. Then you would be one of the few humans who has mastered the Vulcan nerve pinch. Very well. Apply the pinch on the neck of that guard there. Your fingers must press on the specific areas of the neck in the proper sequence.
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, you might notice that the aspect ratio looks wrong. Our ensign here is a fair bit wider than he is tall. I tried to work on that with the display. I couldn't find a way to actually change the ratio it was appearing in. It always fit to my monitor, and my monitor was made in the last 20 years. Also, I don't know what this was originally for. It's not at all a mouse game. So I am controlling it Resident Evil style. Yeah, I couldn't find a window. I really played with it for a bit. Now it's... Yeah, then we do tab, and then I can scroll through the inventory with the arrow keys. Including one of the items in this man's inventory, who apparently is a human, but is taking training from Vulcans. If you see this Vulcan nerve pinch icon, is a spooky hand coming out of a symbol for Vulcan. Okay, and then we get good. He gets ready for the nerve pinch by putting his hand up. And...
Yes, I did it.
Despite your human emotional outburst, you have completed your Vulcan training and honored the memory of your biological parents. Live long and prosper, my ward.
Peace and long life, patron. Computer, initiate training program 02.
Program initiated. Use your phaser to disable the robot drones.
Okay, I also did this part. Let's... Yeah, you see all the options I can... Alright. How inept you are with your disgusting emotions. That's just for me. That's not actually for the character. This is great. I got this off a GOG. Thanks, Curcula. Take a look. I really had trouble finding ways of getting much settings out of it. I forget if this is one of them that I was actually editing a config.txt file. I just want you guys to know that I work hard for you, okay? It is difficult to tell where they are in 3D. I also got to this point. He says nothing, but it's time to go.
Ensign Sovok to Captain Picard.
We try to get Picard. Picard knows better to ignore us. He has a filter set up. Is there a way we can put the phaser down? Oh yeah, that's right, and he also has... Yeah, okay. Yep, okay. Hey
Ensign
everybody, how's it
Sovok,
going?
please report to Shuttle Bay 2 for scheduled flight duty.
Got it.
Ensign's log, supplemental. For the past 6 hours, I have assisted Captain Picard at the alien ruins beneath the Sona colony. From what we have determined, the race had lived on this planet 5 billion years ago.
Picard to Ensign Sovok. Report to me at the excavation site immediately. I've uncovered something that needs to be analyzed.
On my way, sir.
Glad they got this voice acting from Patrick Stewart over the phone. So... How's it going, buddy?
Do you have something for me?
Mission orders, go to excavation site to meet Captain Picard. Nope, okay. Follow the path, idiot. Oh, sorry. Hey, hang on. I need to update the, stream information. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. I forget that these games are all actually on, the category list, so... Until they're on Super Nintendo. Okay. Thank you, Blue. Got it. Hey, how's it going? No? Okay. Alright, see you later. Okay. And we have a run button, but he has a bit of a wind-up time on it. And he can't change direction while running. Oh.
We'll let him scour the ruins. Surely Captain Picard will find it.
Yeah, I think I'm also running on Glide. I think it asked me which mode. Hey guys, how's it going? What's up?
Ah, a Starfleet officer. I'm Urano. What brings you to our little colony?
I'm Ensign Sovok. I am assisting Captain Picard at the excavation site. Perhaps, if there's time, some sonar could help us examine the ruins.
I'm afraid that's not possible, young one. We have limited resources to allocate for the development of this colony.
I see. I apologize for interrupting your work.
Very well, Ensign.
It's okay, we just saw in Armada that they shoot at us sometimes, so... I had no idea those guys, those crappy bad guys, appeared in multiple other games.
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, I'm too busy for questions.
And I can have him run, but anytime I want him to at all change direction while running, he goes to a walk. is this an elevator? It is, isn't it? Eyebrows. And there's the man himself.
While I continue my work here, I want you to take this relic to Commander Data for analysis.
Understood, sir.
That it? Okay, alright, okay. Welcome, Lila. He runs like Tom Cruise, yeah. Arms in that awkward position. Tired. TNT, how's it going? It was... No, it was from between... Yeah, okay. We are doing the Wheel of Old Star Trek games. We ran down to Captain Picard. He gave us the thing to run back to Data.
Do you have something for me?
Captain Picard asked me to deliver this to you.
Thank you, Ensign. There is an advanced ceramic microcircuitry system within the Talisman. Intriguing. Data to Captain Picard.
Yes, Mr. Data. I trust Ensign Sovok delivered the talisman. What did your analysis determine?
The talisman is similar to the relic you recovered yesterday. The organization of the talisman's ceramic circuitry indicates that it might be a device used to emit high-energy frequencies.
Who's there? Identify yourself. Data, I'm under attack at the ruins.
The captain is in danger and we must assist. Ensign, follow me to the excavation site.
Hormonal as fuck. To get you on the 5 of E. More eyebrows. Okay, I'm doing eyebrows. That was the entire mission, was running down to Picard, picking up an object, and running it back to Data. Mission goals accomplished. Wow. The Sona also told us to get fucked. Oh, 5 of, estradiol is what I was saying. When I was on 5 milligrams of that, I cried at work all the time. It's okay, I don't need to know exactly what's going on. Sorry, you're feeling hormonal. Yeah. Teaching yourself HTML as a distraction is probably a good call. We are playing old
Ensign's
Star
log
Trek...
supplemental. Captain Picard has been attacked in the ruins by unknown assailants. Commander Data has ordered me to follow him to the excavation site and assist the captain.
And now we're on a different mission. What a wonderful game structure this is. Okay, let's get in there. Oh, okay. Oh, Curcula, that's a Sona. We're not searching or... Alright, whatever. Hey. Is this a real video game? Incredible. Okay. Got a force field, we can go around. The run walk is killing me. No, it is up there, isn't it? Okay. Boy, flying my spaceship gives a lot more time to do eyebrows, as I'm told to. Hey, I know you. How's it going?
Ensign, the Sona have erected a shield array around sections of the colony. My analysis indicates that they are serially linked and controlled from a single source. Find and deactivate the shield array, and I will be able to bring down the shield at my location.
Yes, sir. I'll look for the shield array immediately.
Does that help? They're serially linked. This is an incredible game.
Ensign Sovok, over here.
Commander Data, did those Sona attack the captain?
Unknown. I assume by their aggressive posture that they were involved. Let us try to use the element of surprise against them. I will attract their fire while you take cover and incapacitate them.
Yes, sir.
Alright, guys, I don't know. I'm just gonna shoot him. Nope, nope. What? What is this?
You think our friends here were involved with Captain Picard's disappearance?
You know these Sona? They are friends of yours?
No, Commander. It was a figure of speech. They're, not really my friends.
Ah, your usage of the word friends was implying sarcasm. Henceforth, I will assume most of your diction is sarcastic.
Well, yes, sir.
Let us continue our search for the captain.
What? That must be a tricorder. Yeah, nothing to do there. Okay. Get your gun back out. Go. There's nothing else here, so... mean, did we try?
Ensign Sovok to Captain Picard.
I'm detecting faint energies emanating from this area. If I am not mistaken, the residual ionization is indicative of a transporter technology.
Sir, you think this is some alien transporter and that Captain Picard went through it?
It is possible. It would seem, Ensign, that we must determine the nature of this alien device if we are to find Captain Picard.
I just tried to do that, but let's do it again. Yeah. Organic material detected. Okay. Can you do something with it? Nope, that is just health. And then I expend it. When in doubt, test it out. Yeah, okay. It does sound organic. Yeah, sure, nerve pinch it. Okay, there we go. I love that this video game has levels. Okay, alright.
Ensign Sovok to Captain Picard at Commanded Data. Can anyone respond?
Sovok, this is Captain Picard. Where are you?
It's hard to describe, sir. Commander Data and I activated the alien transporter and we were separated. I'm not sure where I am now.
I activated the transporter when the sonar attacked me, so I assume they have been scattered somewhere down here as well. Have you made contact with Data?
Not yet, sir.
My apologies for not communicating earlier, Captain. I had to evade a Sona patrol.
Data, are you all right?
Yes, sir. For an unknown reason, the alien device that transported both you and the ensign ignored my presence. It is possible that the device had difficulty recognizing my artificial body as a suitable candidate for transport. As a result, I am still in the colony.
Data, stay in the colony and monitor the sonar as closely as you can. Ensign, your orders are to explore your area and to report any substantial findings you discover immediately. We must all work together so that we can regroup quickly.
Aye, sir.
Aye, sir.
Those creatures. They're trapped in some sort of stasis force field. I wonder what this place was used for.
That's my fault. Yeah, just walking around, keep the gun up. Alright, okay.
Awakened, I sense
Who are you?
I have been for countless years. Zatal.
I'm Ensign Sovok of the United Federation of Planets. I'm searching for another person who transported here, Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
I sense others. They are far. I cannot help you like this. The Undercity is too weak. As am I. Must draw life power back into planet. Must restore the metaphasic conductors. I can aid you then.
I will do what I can, Zatal. Where are these conductors?
Use the portals to go. Restore metaphasic flow. Must go now, child.
Ensign, to Captain Picard, I've made first contact with an alien entity.
Someone is communicating with you.
I, sir, a being known as Zatal, has asked me to activate a conductor device that sounds like some global power source. With the conductors active, she may be able to help us.
This sounds like our best opportunity to learn more about this culture and discover a way out. Proceed, Ensign. Find these conductors and activate them if you can.
Aye, sir.
Also, sir, I found some bugs to shoot that probably will keep me from getting too bored. Yeah, the static here, is it just on the voices? It has that background rumble. Now that's just in there. Activate the conductors. Yeah, that's just that thing. Okay. And there is nothing else of interest in this room. Okay. Keep going then, Mr. Sona. Is that Discord still? I'm sorry, 1 second. No, it's fine. It's fine. I just took it off so I could kill the Discord. I didn't realize I'd left it up. I closed the window, but it doesn't end the app, so, okay. Alright. What a piece of crap this is. Okay. Was the static the flying bugs? It's still going. Okay. No, I think it is gone. Okay, well, whatever. Ah, okay, so these are different. think I did finally set up a Discord server. If you do !Discord, see if that works for you. One second. Have it set up to core commands, command triggered, whatever. Almost, yeah, no, that's, yeah, you got it. Still doing my best. Oh, well, watch it. It's a family stream. Try that. And I'll have to figure out why that command didn't work. Drawing energy. Okay. We wanted to activate some power thing, and we seem to have stopped this from drawing energy. Oh, hey buddy. Can I kill you? Yeah, TNT, I know. I'm kind of kidding here. It's okay. I swear all the time. Butts, farts. Okay, well, this is a good phaser. Oh, that guy. This guy. Here. This guy. This thing. Here. Nothing. Organic... Wait, did that say organic siphon creature? Disrupting metaphasic flow. Okay. How's that one? Okay. We have to find some other way to deal with this idiot. Alright. Great, yeah. Feel free to be the first new person to actually post on that Discord. I got this guy. One. And was there anywhere else I could go? This, which is basically a transporter. There's nothing back there that would help me with it. Activate the conductor. Congrats, TNT. Alright, so if I switch back to the tricorder here... that does that. And... let's see... Lila, this is a game that plays like Resident Evil.
How unusual.
Oh
The
yeah,
creature seems
so
to be feeding on the energy.
barely, yeah. So the way I have set this up is that since last time we didn't change games once, I set up a timer so it starts at 40 minutes each time we switch games. Then if I get a new follow, I add a minute. If I get a sub or a gift, I add 10 minutes. Oh, we did do a sub gift here, didn't we? Okay, hang on. Wait. Were you not already following? It did pop up. There should be a way to link those with timers. I have not figured it out, though. And now I scrolled the timer window. There we go. Okay.
That thing ate the phaser blast. Check, please.
So how the heck... Oh, we have the nerve pinch. Let's do that. Okay. Nope, don't bite me. So I did put the 10 minutes on that I forgot to do for the gift sub, I think. Okay. And the minutes getting added there is just me pressing a button. Doing my best, folks.
Science Officer's Log Supplemental. I have lost contact with both Captain Picard and Ensign Sovok. The Sona have captured the colony, and I have taken the shuttle to reach the Enterprise.
You can just... I got too close. Okay. Alright. Cool. Return to menu, I guess. That's right, I don't have a mouse in this game. I forget. Oh, and it doesn't autosave when you start a mission, huh? Wow.
Ensign's Log Supplement.
I forget what year these games came out sometimes. This is such a piece of crap. Okay, alright. I'm sorry, I really... Hercula, yeah, I kinda am. Yeah, okay.
While I continue my work here, I want you to take this relic to Commander Data for analysis.
Understood, sir. Just have him just run sideways down the road. Boy, those Starfleet guys are real weirdos. Captain Picard asked me to deliver this to you.
Thank you, Ensign. There is an advanced ceramic microcircuitry system within the talisman. Intriguing. Data to Captain Picard.
Yes, Mr. Data. I trust Ensign Sovok delivered the talisman. What did your analysis determine?
The talisman is similar to the relic you recovered yesterday. The organization of the talisman's ceramic circuitry indicates that it might be a device used to emit high-energy frequencies.
Who's there? Identify yourself. Data, I'm under attack at the ruins.
The captain is in danger and we must assist. Ensign, follow me to the excavation site.
Ensign's log supplemental.
Jerk, get back!
Ensign, the Sona have erected a shield array around sections of the colony. My analysis indicates that they are serially linked and controlled from a single source.
Yes, you
Find and deactivate the shield array, and I will be able to bring down the shield at my location.
Yes, sir. I'll look for the shield array immediately.
The way everybody's just sprinting around like that is just outstanding. Hey, Rainbow Six. This is, as I put up in the corner, Star Trek Hidden Evil. We got another 5 minutes, then we'll switch to one more probably tonight. I start at 40 minutes.
Over here.
Commander Data, did those Sona attack the captain?
Unknown. I assume by their aggressive posture that they were involved. Let us try to use the element of surprise against them. I will attract their fire while you take cover and incapacitate them.
Yes, sir.
This is a tense gunfight. Yeah, so I do each game with another 40 minutes. There's probably just one more, I don't know. Maybe if I feel like it,
You think our friends here were involved with Captain Picard's disappearance?
You know these Sona? They are friends of yours?
No, Commander. It was a figure of speech. They're, not really my friends.
Ah, your usage of the word friends was implying sarcasm. Henceforth, I will assume most of your diction is sarcastic.
Well, yes, sir.
Let us continue our search for the captain.
It's a different button. Wait, am I stupid? Okay, I can put in the wrong ones. That's good to know. Huh. Then that one doesn't. Okay.
Ensign Sovok to Captain Picard at Commanded Data. Can anyone respond?
Sovok, this is Captain Picard. Where are you?
It's hard to describe, sir. Commander Data and I activated the alien transporter and we were separated. I'm not sure where I am now.
I activated the transporter when the sonar attacked me, so I assume they have been scattered somewhere down here as well. Have you made contact with Data?
Not yet, sir.
My apologies for not communicating earlier, Captain. I had to evade a sonar patrol.
Data, are you all right?
Yes, sir. For an unknown reason, the alien device that transported both you and the Ensign ignored my presence. It is possible that the device had difficulty recognizing my artificial body as a suitable candidate for transport. As a result, I am still in the colony.
Data, stay in the colony and monitor the sonar as closely as you can. Ensign, your orders are to explore your area and to report any substantial findings you discover immediately. We must all work together so that we can regroup quickly.
Aye, sir.
Aye, sir.
It's like he cuts off Picard there. Amazing that they paid both Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner for this. Okay, alright, we're almost done here.
Those creatures. They're trapped in some sort of stasis force field. I wonder what this place was used for.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah, okay. Alright.
Awakened, I sense a child.
Who are you?
I have been for countless years. Zatal.
I'm Ensign Sovok of the United Federation of Planets. I'm searching for another person who transported here, Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
I sense others. They are far. I cannot help you like this. The Undercity is too weak. As am I. Must draw life power back into planet. Must restore the metaphasic conductors. I can aid you then.
I will do what I can, Zatal. Where are these conductors?
Use the portals to go. Restore metaphasic flow. Must go now, child.
Ensign to Captain Picard, I've made first contact with an alien entity.
Someone is communicating with you.
Aye, sir. A being known as Zatal has asked me to activate a conductor device that sounds like some global power source. With the conductors active, she may be able to help us.
This sounds like our best opportunity to learn more about this culture and discover a way out. Proceed, Ensign. Find these conductors and activate them if you can.
Aye, sir.
Okay, and I think that is the end of our time with Hidden Evil here. So we can go back here and roll for our next old Star Trek game. And I might also bring up a walkthrough to keep on hand in the future in case I get stuck. I'm not interested in spending half an hour doing nothing. Okay, so let's see. What's next? Wheel of fortune? Turn, turn, turn. Tell us a lesson, etc. It looks like we're back to Armada. Okay. All right. Oh. Okay. All right. Timer begin.
Prepare the docking bays.
Okay. Let's have
Armed
any
and ready.
special... Oh, it has cloak. Okay.
Impulse power. Get us out of here. Maximum
So,
warp.
for people who missed this, the big Klingon fleet is waiting for us at the end of this mission. That blinking beacon here on the map. That is, I think, another wormhole
Impulse
we need to
power.
go through. There's a bunch of very stable wormholes here
Set a course.
that have guided us through this map, if you see that down here in the lower left. We have also boarded and scavenged a couple of ships that were sitting around
Engines
in
to
here.
pull. Engines
This
to
Ferengi
pull.
ship and this Klingon ship.
Armed and ready.
The Ferengi ship has a tractor beam. Great. And the Klingon
Helm.
ship can
New course
cloak.
heading.
Let's see if there's anything else
Engines
we
to
can get here
pull.
before we go into this dive with the Klingons.
Impulse power. Get us out of here. Maximum warp. Get us out of here. Maximum warp.
Get us out of here. Maximum warp.
Set a course.
Ship slowly moves forward.
Lay in a new course.
The only special we have
sections,
here is
report.
that the Defiant class USS Avenger has antimatter mines it can...
Set a course.
You will not escape me this time, Worf.
Status report.
Are they coming? Yeah, okay. Drop as many mines as you can.
Enemy engaged.
Status report.
And can you tractor beam that thing? Or... Well, the mines have helped.
Today is a glorious day for battle.
Armed and ready.
I don't care if the Ferengi ship explodes. Wow, that is tough.
Ready for battle.
Okay. Go past it. Just go.
Impulse power. Helm. New course heading. Lay in a new course. Get us out of here. Maximum warp. Admiral, Taral, leader of the House of
just
Duras,
had to
claims to have found the Sword of Kahless. He is planning to use it to take control of the Klingon High Council. If he succeeds, the Empire will be thrown into chaos. They will be unable to support the Federation against the Borg.
Starfleet cannot interfere with internal Klingon politics, but we need their support. You are closest to the situation, Worf. What is your assessment?
Sir, I suspect Toral's sword is a fake. I know where the true sword lies. If I retrieve it and return it to Chancellor Martok, Toral will have no legitimate claim to the Klingon throne.
Very well, Worf. I am giving you a field commission of captain. The Avenger is yours to command until further notice. Proceed with your plan.
Understood, Admiral. Worf out.
Yeah, that's actually Michael Dorn in that minimally animated cutscene.
We found it, sir.
Excellent. Beam the Sword of Kahless on board and send a message to Chancellor Martok informing him that we are on our way.
Okay, I guess that's the end of the mission.
Captain's log, Stardate 53551.3. We have been hailing Starbase 612 ever since we received the USS Premonition's warning about the Borg. There has been no response. I fear we might be too late.
Captain, we are in visual range now.
On screen.
The very close galaxy. I don't... Which...
Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the Starbase.
Enterprise, thank God that you're here. We've been attacked by the Borg. They've assimilated the crews of every ship in the sector. They're returning from Derek soon. We don't have much time.
It is imperative we re-establish defenses in this sector. We will use the derelicts to our advantage. Number one, begin preparing away teams. I want all those vessels operational before the Borg return.
This game does have actual missions you can pick from, so I don't need to save at the beginning of each mission. Okay, alright. Here. Huh? Okay. Defiant class USS Wolverine.
Status report.
Wolverines.
Engage.
Okay. This guy has a Corbomite reflector.
Number one, prepare an away team.
Starship construction commencing.
Oh, are we done? Okay. Yeah, okay. Great.
Status report.
Let's go recover the thing that mines dilithium for us.
Make it so.
Yeah, okay.
Starship complete. Unable to transport.
Engage.
Armed and ready.
All sections report. Energize.
Oh, this can just recover them on its... Okay, alright. Yeah. Guys, do you like transporter noises? I have the game for you.
Starship construction commencing.
Understood.
All sections on standby.
Acknowledge, Starfleet.
Status report.
Starship complete.
Prepare the docking bays.
We have research facility. Oh yeah, okay.
Lay in a course.
Follow my lead. Awaiting new orders. Aye, sir. Will do.
All sections report. Lay in a new course.
This, another Defiant. Yeah, let's take that.
Number 1, prepare and await you.
I like that the Enterprise has Corbomite reflector. The only reference to Corbomite I can remember is from that very, very early episode of original series where Kirk says he uses it to destroy his ship is ever lost, to destroy any nearby ships in a bluff against an alien voiced by Clint Howard?
Just tell me where to go.
Requesting additional personnel.
Like a baby. No, it's not voiced by. It is Clint Howard or something, but then it's
Captain,
a voice, a
I'm
deep
picking up
voice.
transport signatures heading this way.
Battle stations.
Referencing, the Enterprise has a Corbomite maneuver. That actually says it's Corbomite reflector,
report.
which I am not familiar with.
Lay in a new course.
Go restock, get some more people to press buttons. Beep boop. And we have more ships out here that need... Yeah, okay. Uh-oh.
Enemy
Borgs.
engaged.
Bring up local star charts. Standing by. Bring up local star charts. Just tell me where to go. Understood. Acknowledge, Starfleet.
Unable to transport.
Just tell me where to go.
Venture class. These guys have 10-person crews and then 2 officers. Wow, okay.
Follow my lead.
Yeah, I guess you'll need more people before you can beam someone over.
That's affirmative.
Akira, can you go take care of it?
Alter course.
And this little funny, this second window in the bottom kind of shows stuff happening at random to keep you abreast of what's happening. Yeah, Curcula, Corbomite is from an early... I think the episode might be titled Corbomite Maneuver. Where Kirk says the ship is laced with Corbomite, so if they're destroyed, it kills anybody nearby, and it's a secret, and that's why it's not in the computer. Blah, blah, blue. You have... Yeah, you do.
Begin a sensor scan.
Didn't watch much of TOS, but your name is Curcula?
Begin a sensor scan.
No, get
Just
back
tell
here,
me
get
where to
back
go.
here. Okay. I will blame your parents.
Alter course.
Battle stations. Alter course.
All sections on standby. Armed and ready.
Standing by.
Make a note.
And I need to recover all of these other ships.
Battle stations.
And some Defiance. They're pretty
Battle
tough.
stations.
But...
Acknowledge, Starfleet.
All sections report.
Oh, it's a nebula. Okay.
Battle stations. Make a note in the log.
All power to engines.
Unable to transport. Unable
Oh,
to
this
transport.
Defiant is. Yeah, okay.
Begin a sensor scan.
Station is under attack.
Entering coordinates.
Enemy engaged.
Yeah, the orc. Job's done. Or the human. Yeah. Select 4 guys at a time. In this game, I can select 8 at a time.
Follow my lead.
Oh, that's good to go.
Set a course.
Okay, yeah. That back there. The Steam Runner class is another one where they lost the model after first contact.
All sections report.
Enterprise, you can do. Go
Mr.
do.
LaForge, reroute all auxiliary power to the engine.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, Aristotle, you're not coming back.
Standing by. Understood. Alter course.
Yeah. Welcome, QR.
Acknowledge, Starfleet.
Oh no, you have
Acknowledge,
5
Starfleet.
people. You cannot
Understood.
do any...
Status report.
5?
Helm,
Yeah?
new course heading.
Station construction commencing.
Status report. Find the nearest
Okay, I have to
shipyard.
repair and recrew.
Starfleet, we have a problem.
I get all of these guys.
Battle stations.
But he's on
Just
you.
tell me where to go.
Okay.
Ready to work.
Begin a sensor scan.
Hey,
Ready
can
to
you
work.
just
You got it.
beam some of your minor idiots over to...
Armed and ready.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine, that's
Aye,
fine.
sir. Find the nearest shipyard.
Enemy engaged. Station is under attack. Station complete.
And I thought I sent someone down here. I did, they didn't have enough people, so I need to send someone again.
All sections report. Status report.
Station is under attack.
All sections.
So this is like Star Control, where the crew are the health.
Helm,
I like
new
that.
course heading.
Okay.
Battle stations. Battle stations.
Status report.
All hands to battle stations.
Status report.
Ship at full readiness.
Captain, I'm picking up Federation warp signatures heading towards us.
Starfleet could not have responded to our message so fast. Go to red alert. Those are Borg power nodes. They must have assimilated those ships. Alert all vessels.
Assimilated Federation forces, huh? Okay. Destroy all Borg. Enterprise must survive. I think I'm gonna save here.
All sections on standby.
Yeah. Hydrate. Hydrate. Aren't you beaming these people? Okay, they were still going over there, alright.
Find the nearest shipyard.
Okay.
Standing by.
Barrel roll is tough to do in an RTS.
Status report.
I can
Mr.
have the
LaForge,
Enterprise
reroute all
just
auxiliary power to the
do
engine.
a yaw roll, perhaps.
Enemy engaged.
Target that vessel.
Station is under attack.
Status report.
Thrilling.
Battle
Okay.
stations. Understood.
Attack squad, why don't you form up and then we'll send you in. You guys, my backup boys.
Standing by.
No doubt the Borg have established an outpost in this area. We must find it and destroy it.
The sound between these different voice lines is totally inconsistent. I'm doing my best. Okay. Find and destroy the Borg base. Yeah.
Station is under attack.
Yeah, stations tend to be that way. Okay. Orders, search and destroy. That way.
Enemy engaged.
Acknowledged, Starfleet.
Armed and ready.
All sections report. Status report.
All sections on standby.
Okay. Found a sphere.
Reroute power.
Enemy engaged.
Well, the alarm isn't even at the top of. Okay, still getting this. That was... How many bits is that?
Battle stations. Battle stations.
Tell you what, I'll give you another minute.
Enemy engaged.
Acknowledged, Starfleet.
Okay. Backup boys, get in there.
Checking out, Starfleet.
Be ready for anything.
Have powers. You
All
have
sections
powers.
on standby.
Checking out, Starfleet.
Oh. Okay. Whatever. I don't know. 11 more would be cool. I already added the minute. And it comes up with that one alert for that I had turned off, but that still happens for some reason. I'll figure it out. Okay, back up, boys. Oh, Lord. Okay. Never mind, guys. We're gonna get killed.
All sections on standby.
Enemy engaged.
Status report. Lay in a new course.
Okay, let's get some ships a-building.
Starship construction commencing.
I should have been doing this for a while.
Battle stations.
Pull back, idiots. Yeah, just kite them back.
Understood. Standing by.
Rally, yeah.
Status report.
Boy, and the ships even
Enemy
take individual
engaged.
system damage. Interesting.
Starship complete. Station is under attack.
Make a note.
That is exploding, isn't it? Okay.
Starship complete.
Your research facility.
Prepare the dock.
Construction ship. Research facility.
Recruited course of action.
Status report.
Station construction commencing. Station is under attack. Enemy engaged.
Ready phasers
Go kill
and
that
quantum
guy.
torpedoes.
Starship complete. Station is under attack.
Change heading. Acknowledge, Starfleet. Standing by.
Station complete. Enemy engaged.
Okay, come on back. Are you still
Understood.
producing? No, you're not.
Starship
Akira's
construction
going.
commencing.
So I have a total of 420 officers possible, huh? Okay.
Acknowledge, Starfleet. Understood.
You are losing that fight.
Battle stations. Alter course.
Enemy engaged.
Oh my god,
Station is
Enterprise,
under
go
attack.
fix this crap. Oh, goody.
Standing by. Reroute power to weapons.
Yeah, just get them to the starbase. Use the starbase weapons.
Acknowledge.
And let's get another shipyard going.
A prudent course of action.
Status report.
Reroute power to weapons.
Status report.
Enemy engaged.
And there's that Corbomite reflector. Okay, what does that do? It is reflecting their shots at them.
Standing by.
Starship complete.
Status report. All sections report.
Status report.
It is possible I fucked up this mission, and we're not coming back from this after I lost that first attack force.
Station is under attack.
All this other Borg building. Huh. Okay.
Station complete.
Alright.
Starship
Yeah.
complete. Enemy engaged. Starship construction commencing. Starship construction commencing.
And that doesn't immediately take the resources when I hit build. That is good too.
Armed and ready. Alter course.
Change heading.
Mr. LaForge, reroute all auxiliary power to the engines.
Find the nearest shipyard.
Starfleet, we have a problem.
All sections report.
Starship complete. Starship complete. Station is under attack. Enemy engaged.
Just go take care of this Enterprise. So, Star Trek. How's everybody thinking about Starfleet Academy? I am not a huge fan of the year 3000. It doesn't appear that they have that much interesting going on there. But there's been an Academy show necessary for some time.
Status report.
And if they have Robert Picardo in it, well... Are we still building? Yeah, but we're running out of materials.
Station
Okay.
is under attack.
Armed and ready.
Starship complete. Enemy engaged. Insufficient dilithium. Insufficient dilithium.
And there we've run out of resources.
Understood. All sections on standby. Armed and ready.
All sections report. All sections report.
Okay. Yeah, Curricula. So not only did they have Discovery,
Starship
which I think has
complete.
actually ended, and then they also had Strange New Worlds, which was kind of a Discovery spin-off, and Lower Decks. which has ended.
No
But
doubt the Borg have established an outpost in this area. We must find it and destroy it.
yeah, why did you tell me the...
Starship construction commencing. Enemy engaged.
Fire all weapons. Armed and ready. Armed and ready. All sections on standby.
Make it so.
Status report.
Detection. But now they're also starting an academy, which is a spin-off of Discovery after having gone to the year 3000. That includes, I think, one of my more liked characters from Discovery, Tilly. Tilly? Red-haired lady.
Enemy engaged.
Armed and ready.
And we might have gotten to the stage of bad RTSs, where the enemy has totally exhausted their resources and no longer builds anything. And so now I'm free to mop up whatever is left.
All sections report.
I'm gonna get another beer. And while we're watching the ships do their work here, I will mention that this coming Wednesday, Lila Kakari, Phoenix Blue, and I are starting at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We are doing a Kerbal Space program where we drink. Where when stuff goes wrong, or when stuff goes well, or when stuff happens, we have a little bit of a drink and see how far we get. We are still figuring out the details of exactly how that's going to work, but it should be fun. Not my usual time, but it'll be a blast. Literally. Okay, guys, can you get in there and help out with this?
Bring us in a weapons ring. Fire all weapons.
Redirect fire to that vessel.
Yeah. I got Kraken rum. I think I'm gonna get something else, and we're gonna do mixed drinks all day. It's before sundown, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Redirect fire to that vessel. Redirect fire to that vessel.
Rexa, hey, okay, I set up a thing to automatically... Shout out. Oh. When folks raid me, and instead it is just, Instead it is just saying your name in the chat. We'll get it. But yeah, thank you for coming. Everybody, if you're not following Rexa, go ahead and follow Rexa. Rexa plays great games, including Elite Dangerous, which we all love, but also recently Satisfactory, that all the cool kids are playing.
Picard, I have alerted all
We're still
ships in
going.
the quadrant of the Borg threat. The Enterprise is to escort the premonition to the Mannheim Research Facility for investigation and repairs, then return to Starfleet Command to begin preparing defenses.
Lieutenant, open a channel to the premonition. Captain Deming, we were able to repel the initial Borg attack on Starbase 612.
Thank you, Captain. We may have just given the Federation the chance it needs to survive. I hope it will be enough.
It will have to be.
Was that the entire Federation campaign? It's 4 missions. Oh, okay. Alright. The Gates of Stovokor. Let's see it. I'm sorry, there aren't subtitles a lot of the time.
For the Empire! Inform the shipyards they need to increase their production. That was just the initial assault. When the Borg return, it will be in force. My Klingon warriors. Let us make sure they will sing songs of this day.
So, Kirkula, I don't think we will, because if we're going to Stovokor, then that means we are not going to where B'Elanna and her mom were, which is on the boat for the going to Klingon Hell, which I don't recall the word for. Destroy all Borg. Protect the Klingon starbase. Bartok must survive. Okay, we have some stuff, don't we? Yeah, Stovokor is heaven. Basically Valhalla.
Our base is under attack. The battle has
Your
begun.
turrets. Okay. We have a lot of stuff. We have our starbase. That's a construction ship. Okay. Construction ship. Get us some shipyards. Because we don't appear to have one yet. And the sensor arrays give you little areas you're totally watching on the radar. Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
Negvar, Vorcha, and Sorels? It says bird of prey, it doesn't identify them. Okay.
A Klingon can die but once. Ready for battle. Let us get to work.
Okay, got some more Borg. Okay, let's go get this thing.
The battle has begun. For the Empire.
You might be right that there is no Klingon hell and it's just nothingness. It's also this odd thing where then they had also said that there was no Klingon, that the Klingons were gone or something after. It wasn't entirely clear. I think it's changed a couple of times. No, it's that once a Klingon soul leaves the body is nothing and they don't care how it's disposed of. But they can go then to heaven or hell. If hell is a nothing, I'm not familiar. I'm doing my best here. Yeah, I didn't watch that Voyager episode when I did my recent rewatch, because I was showing my ex all of Star Trek. For what it's worth, I totally got her. She has a tattoo on her arm of Kirk and Spock making out now. That's my fault. But I picked episodes from Voyager to watch, and that was not on the list.
The day will be ours.
We get the shipyard. Yep. That means get us another. Shipyard is no shortcut. Okay. Yeah, hey, if you want to hook up with her, she's in New York City now. Go for it.
Station construction has begun.
And this needs a weapons center? Yeah, okay.
Beginning construction.
Yeah. Construction guy cost 500. Let's not spend that.
Yes.
Our base is under attack.
Yes.
A new ship for the fleet.
The day will be ours.
Battle has begun.
On my way.
We have a new ship for the fleet. New
I
battle
absolutely showed her threshold. Yes, Curcula. Need her a bit more local to Minnesota? Yeah, sorry. Why don't you go get repaired? Get the other shipyard going? Good. It is garbage, and I actually recently watched it again because a Discord I'm on, somebody is showing all, like, went through all of Star Trek Voyager. Just streaming it all from their
Station construction has begun.
YAR
We
database.
have a new ship for the
And
fleet.
I walked in on that one. I had to sit down and watch it. What a piece of crap episode that is. Just a garbage. They're trying to do something with Paris. But besides him whining that he's not special enough and then kind of doing something special and then it turning him into a lizard that then impregnates his captain, the episode's just a mess. And it does the old Voyager thing where it just has long scenes where it wastes time because it doesn't have plot to fill it. Warp 10 is no joke. Stay away.
Can die but once. For Kalis. Very well.
Nothing up yet. Get the weapons.
Let us get to work.
For folks who don't know, that's an episode where Paris goes to Warp 10. It turns him into a weird mutant for a while. Eventually decides he needs to kidnap Captain Janeway. Takes her also to Warp 10. The two of them ran to a random planet. They turn into lizards. And then the lizards have babies. And then after that they decide Warp 10 is never needed again. It's garbage. Oh my god, we're past the clock. Okay, I can go to the next game. I didn't even notice that. Alright. Alright, let's do one more. We're finding some quality old Star Trek games, aren't we? Okay. So, here is our final game for tonight. And it's Birth of the Federation. Folks, let me show you a game. This is only on here because a friend, Sonia Valentine, pointed me to it recently, that she actually had a working copy that I couldn't find. Yeah, there's a reason you don't know this one.
Space, the final frontier. This was the dream that led the Federation. To make peace throughout the galaxy, to stand firm against all opposition, and to boldly go where no one had gone before.
What an intro. So, Birth of the Federation is a 4X game for Star Trek. Like a Master of Orion or something. Stellaris. Let's get the picture in here. Ooh, I don't have the picture yet. Okay, well. Hang on. So, Birth of the Federation is a weird game that I think has a lot of issues with it. Boy, and that just has the tail, like the back black on it, huh? Okay. Let's put that down. Awesome. Yeah, but this game has a couple of funny things going on with it that are cool. You see the ships here for the various empires that you can play as? It includes Ferengi. So,
configure game parameters.
Every game has the big five. The Cardassians, the Federation, the Ferengi, the Klingons, and the Romulans. Yeah, and it's fun. The game is interesting, and you can configure one separately.
Select galactic power to control. Configure game parameters.
And then there are a lot of all these other things we do. Manual, so it does have a tactical thing where it shows you a 3D thing and the ships fly slowly around each other and exchange weapon fire. Medium. Well, we of course want a spiral galaxy.
Select galactic power to control.
Now, I think I'll allow whoever you guys want me to play, go for it, just toss it out in the chat, and we'll decide. But they have nice little openings where
the Cardassian Union.
Somebody supposedly of them will say the name.
The United Federation of Planets.
The Ferengi Alliance.
The Klingon Empire.
The Romulan Star Empire.
And they each have a number of specialties, too. They'll do different things differently. I see one vote for the UFP.
The United Federation of Planets.
One for the Ferengi. One for the Romulan. It is currently a 3-way tie. One other thing I'll note about this game is that they only have the Next Generation license. So even though it's a 4X and supposedly we're developing the Federation from the beginning, it doesn't have anything from the original series. Not for the Federation, not for the Romulans, not for the Klingons. Okay. Alright, Federation, I see. Let's go. The Federation is a free society, and its people value liberty and equality. Their talents are better suited to research than to espionage. Their technology is often the envy of other societies. Their diplomats are very skilled, and most minor races, note capital minor races, have a more favorable opinion than of their rivals. Their starships are well shielded and designed to function as well alone as in groups.
Always remember that expansion is achieved by diplomacy, not by the military. Starfleet's mission is to preserve the peace. Our ships are not intended to start wars, but to end them. We attack only as a last resort.
I like that there's a picture of Paris in there. As we all know, the capital of the United Federation of Planets is Paris. So here we are. It's turn-based. The Federation starts with only one star system, Sol. So it's a Federation of one star, one planet. And you see we have the various all 9 planets. And all the green ones, I believe, have already been terraformed and to some degree occupied. Moons, go to hell. Planets only. Start with a science vessel, which we use to explore and analyze stuff, and a colony ship, which, you guessed it. So let's see here. Send the science vessel to the orange star. Okay, ETA 1 turn. And yeah, then we have these various sectors. So that's how things happen. Oh. Okay. Okay, if I hold the button down, it does. Yeah, okay, and it's not letting us see the ones we haven't. Oh, maybe that is the size of the entire galaxy. So, we'll check that out. And we have different map modes. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Go to Sol. And check research. We just have research budgets in various areas. And we barely have anything. We're level 0 and everything. Yeah. Okay. Alright. We can check diplomacy, but we don't know anybody else yet. A big part of this game is the minor races. So we will find other aliens that we can actually initiate relations with, or we can conquer them. If you conquer them as the Federation, that doesn't actually work terribly well. So, we have to negotiate. Oh, internal security is not a thing yet, because we haven't met anybody. But we can look at our individual systems to see what's built there. Note, it's not per planet, it's per star system. Type 3 of each of the kinds of buildings in the 5 areas of commerce. No, we can't. So actually, each of the players, and I can crank up the volume here, maybe just a little. Each of the empires has its own specialties. Things it gets rewarded for and things it gets penalized for. If the Federation start behaving like assholes, yeah, they get penalized for that pretty bad. Yeah, we can do the shipbuilding, right. So this is how we build new ships. Right now we just have the Destroyer and the light cruiser. We cannot build the Constitution class. That didn't appear in Next Generation. The Miranda did. We're okay to build that. Master class, okay for that also. Let's go ahead and get started on a science vessel so we can do more exploration faster. And then, yeah, our shipbuilding and our building happens at the same time. So. Let's get the science vessel going, then we'll get mass replicator to build up the industry so we can go faster. Yeah, we also have energy. So we have to manage the energy for each system. Turning on orbital batteries for defense costs energy. Turning on these individual systems also costs energy. Shipyards up. Dilithium refinery. That's our support amount for our fleet. Bunker network, don't need that. Private farms, plus 20 food, plus 1 morale. We have the energy for it. We can turn that up. Trade center, plus 50% credits. We're getting 498 energy. I'm not sure I care. Federation Council, plus 1 morale, empire-wide. An empire-specific building. Let's go ahead and turn on the food. So we're already at maximum population, so we don't need more food. The trade center, that's not much energy anyway. Turn on the Federation Council. Now, that's a fair bit of energy, but that's fine. We have a bunch. Nothing to do with it. And the subspace scanner, and what the hell, the 2 batteries. Got nothing here. Okay. That's Birth of the Federation. Let's start the timer. Okay. Alright. Did the science vessel go anywhere? Thought I told it to go here. Okay, now it's there. Whatever. Alright. So, nobody lives here. Tarchanin. Colonizable. Yeah, could be better. Have the science vessel check out that one, and the other science vessel. And the ships do have names if you hover over them. This is the Broadsword, which is a good name for a science vessel. Go there. Give us a turn. Okay. The Soul. How are we doing? No, it's just doing the trade goods. That's the nothing to build, so it just generates money. Go ahead and do more mass replicators. I think we have... Yeah, population maintenance cost. We have 203. Yeah, we're okay. Alright. Rod's Word. Yeah, that's good. Cryakus has a jungle that could be terraformed, but nothing super interesting. We can see there's a couple of ships in these adjacent systems that we can't identify, so we'll go there and see what they are. But when the turn passes, they move too, so who knows if they'll be in the same place. Okay. So, one of our science ships has run into a minor race ship. This is the Shelia. If you remember, they're from that Next Generation episode where there is a small colony, the Sheliak, have claimed that they deserve it or that they have it because of a treaty. And I think they end up leaving because someone from the Enterprise destroys the colony's water system so they can't live there anymore anyway. Hale?
A task force has been destroyed. An alien culture has been discovered.
The Sheliak interpret their treaties very strictly. We should exercise extreme caution in making any agreements with them.
Yeah, that's the Sheliak. The only thing we ever see of that race. Yeah, it's a guy wearing a trash bag that's covered in oil or something. And the diplomatic report is entirely a description of them from that one episode of Next Generation. So, they are hostile, they're jerks, and we tried to hail, which means basically your ship sits there and hails. They did not want to talk to us, so they destroyed the science ship. Sorry, guys. We don't have much to do with them. I don't think they're going to be responsive to our diplomatic attempts. Oh, close this. So... go to this. Yeah, Sheliak are indeed hostile. We can give them gifts to turn them up better. I'm not sure we have another way of really doing it. We'll send them 600 wing-wangs, see what they say. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so that's the Shellyak right there. This is kind of disappointing. All minor races in this game have the same icon. Yeah, I know. Alright, this is another jungle. Go over there. Oh, still building. Great. The Shellyak have declared war against us. Great. That gift worked really well. Also, several popular editorials have strongly criticized the war against them that they just declared with us after they destroyed one of our ships and took some money. So it goes. Well, we need some warships. Let's go back to Seoul. They finished building another mass replicator. Let's get an actual cruiser out there. Bernia. Yeah, something. Okay. And let's check out whoever's over here. It's a Ferengi ship. Okay. Hail. And they're non-combatant, so they can't kill us anyway.
Hailing frequencies have been opened. An alien culture has been discovered.
Greetings from the Ferengi Alliance. We are very pleased to meet your people and look forward to a long and profitable future of trade and commerce with you.
So, the minor races have diplomatic scores with us that are kind of dependent on who we are and how those people behave in the various episodes. But the other major powers, we all start totally even with. Female Ferengi are not allowed to wear clothing or leave the home world. They're also not allowed to have jobs or own property. Yeah, good stuff. Gaspar is already being terraformed, that looks like. Let's actually get... I think that's something our colony ship should be doing. So let's look here. That has food. 55, 45, 30. Okay. Go there. This ship, go check that out. Alright.
Hailing frequencies have been opened.
Ilarin. Yeah, nothing much going on there. Check the next one. Okay. So the Ferengi must be over here somewhere. Alright. And colony ship. How do I do that?
Select planet for terraforming.
How long does that take? I guess we'll find out.
Hailing frequencies have been opened.
Yeah. And the Shellyak have now declared war against the Ferengi. Cool. Whatever. Keep at it. So, we have finally found some Ferengi space over here. They have 3 light raiders and 2 troop transports, so we need to get cracking, or they're gonna kill us pretty quickly. It's possible we just lose this one. Oh, set game. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that stuff. That's another command I should have. Good to know. And Birth of the Federation does not appear to be on Twitch's category list, so... Okay. Yeah, nice work, TNT. Check that out. All doing... cruiser. Okay.
Terraforming completed.
Great. So, colony ship, why don't you go ahead and colonize this place?
This system will be colonized.
Okay. Science ship, how's it going? Larger planets, but not habitable. Oh, they're terraformed. Okay, go down this way. And so the ships also have a different number of sectors they move each turn. It's kind of funny that this is turn-based. The science vessel, one of our starting ships, moves one sector a turn, but later on we'll get ones that move 3 or 4. You can see that that means they'll kind of pass each other. Yeah, it gets complicated.
Hailing frequencies have been opened.
This system is now Federation territory.
A good quote. Okay, and after you're done with this, let's get stuff going. Still going? Okay. This place. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about this. So when you start a new colony, all the buildings in it, the basic production buildings, are type 1, and then they have to be upgraded to the higher levels. Figure out why it doesn't work with the left click. Good luck. So let's go ahead and get a mass replicator going so we can build things faster, but it will take a bit. Okay. Science vessel still going. Okay, there. Cardassians.
All forces have retreated. An alien culture has been discovered.
Malkorian society suffers from xenophobic tendencies, but technologically, they are nearly capable of warp travel.
So the Malkorians, neutral, standing with us, are from an episode where I think it's... Is it Riker gets injured and then they have to recover him, but because he's been found by the government there, they know that there are aliens all of a sudden, so they make a pre-warp drive first contact. Oh. And eventually decide that the Malkorians are kind of xenophobic and can't really be brought into the fold yet. Yes, exceptionally xenophobic race. Yeah, okay.
An alien culture has been discovered.
Greetings from the Cardassian Union. We look forward to diplomatic contact with your people. In the meantime, however, we insist that you avoid our space and recognize our territorial sovereignty.
And we have the Cardassians, who are deliberately designed as space Nazis. Let's... a gift to the Malkorians. They're neutral. I think we could bring them around. Now, what is it, 6,000? Okay. And this down here looks like it's Cardassian space. Okay. How's it going, Sol? The 2 turns. Alright. Zara, still building. Yeah, it's gonna take a bit. Okay. I might turn down the volume on some of this music just a little.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Akamarians wish to preserve their social structure. We must take steps to ensure that they can.
Yeah, the Akamarians from an episode where somebody is assassinating various clan leaders of the Akamarians. And it turns out it's the pretty young white lady. And then they have to use the phaser. They try to stun, it only kind of stuns her, so then they just incinerate her. Because they're bored. Yeah, the Shellyak declare war against everyone they can. Okay. We have our light cruiser. So, each of the minor races also has different ships that have different power levels. So let's take a look. So the Shellyak Raider has a hit point 75, shield strength 210. Now it also has firepower stuff, which we can't get by just looking at the green, to my knowledge. Our light cruiser looks to be maybe twice as good. So let's go kick their fucking teeth in.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay. Oh, and yeah, they did get to Akmar. Right, okay. I should have told this ship to go elsewhere. Try that out. Have... Oops. Yeah, sure. Non-aggression.
Treaty will be accepted.
So you see on the list here also, we have the major empires at the top and the minor races listed below that. Each minor race has one unique building that you can get if you bring them into your nation. Medics Laboratory, Clan Hall. Okay. Alright. Anything else I'm doing here? Alliance vessel's already moving. Good. Goal is building a colony ship with 3 turns. Wait. Here we are. So, this is the starship fights in Birth of the Federation. It does actually have 3D models of all the ships. Each ship we can also choose from a list of tactics for. The tactics are more or less of a rock, paper, scissors game. So what do we think they're going to do? Yeah, wasn't expecting the 3D. I think that's very fair. Some of these are, you know, evade, ram is its own weird, desperate thing. And then we also have retreat, and we can try to end it before then. This is the Shellyak, they're a-holes. So, charge is to close the distance as fast as possible. I think the Federation ships have pretty good range, so... Yeah, you can see each one, I mentioned it was a rock, paper, scissors. So assault works well against flyby and strafe. It works poorly against circle and harry. Don't have harry. Let's do circle. Against assault and charge, yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Aye, sir.
Yeah, and just get that
Target
guy.
established.
Great. And now this is also turn-based, so here we go.
Shields absorbed it.
Hey, how we doing? So they're at 144 out of 210. And we are at 320 out of 410. Yeah, we're good.
Where should we focus? Target established.
Just keep going. This is an ambassador class, so it's like the Enterprise C.
They're disengaging.
And they ran. Sucks to suck.
They have retreated. An excellent decision.
An aggression treaty, that's right, so. We're in orbit of the Shellyak homeworld. If we bring in troop transports, which are their own ships, then we could conquer them. Conquering alien races as the Federation does not have like a popularity level with your people. Conquering brings that down for the Federation. It brings it up for the Klingons or the Romulans. So I think that's all I can really do with that. Thought it was interesting to show it off. The Feds are boring. Yeah, maybe. Okay, what's the science vessel? Found an M class. Yeah, okay. Check that out. What is that, a pulsar? Yeah. Oh, and I forgot this also. So, you have a scan strength per sector. Whether or not you can see what's in that sector depends on your scan strength. The easiest way to improve the scan strength in a sector is to move a science vessel there. There are things that do negative scan strength, like a pulsar or something. Yeah, from the neutron star. Neutron stars are pulsars, guys. Sorry. And a pulsar is a neutron star that's spinning quickly. That said, it's possible to get your sensor strength high enough by just building more things or having more science vessels sitting around that your scanning systems you're not actually going to. It's an interesting little mechanic. Okay. So let's check that out. Sol, one more turn, and we probably want to build... get another mass replicator going, and then after that, let's boost our fleet. Okay. Well, our only science vessel was destroyed by a neutron star. Is that something neutron stars always do? I don't recall that.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
The Ferengi issued a demand. So, ships which enter the sector may be damaged or destroyed. Okay, I should have read more clearly. Alright, so we need a new science vessel. Yeah. And you can queue up a bunch of one building. Okay. Alright. Science ship. Go here. We'll terraform the other 2 planets in this sector. And then we'll move on. This... a lot. And you can see also the individual planets have bonuses. Food, energy... I think we probably want Triacus. There... yeah, okay. Or
Select planet for terraforming.
30, so get that guy. Okay.
Terraforming completed.
Oh, and the Ferengi issued me a demand or a request. I ignored it. Probably good there. We should colonize another system. Akamar is inhabited. Yeah, we'll do Triacus. Okay.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, and after the gift to the Malkorians, they're now offering a friendship proposal. Good. Check that out. On aggression.
Treaty will be accepted. Treaty will be accepted.
Okay, and we're on a friendship treaty with the Malkorians. I think that means that we will now start just accruing good vibes with them, and that eventually that means we can just get them into the Federation willingly. That's the way we have to do it with the Federation. Don't conquer. Your people will hate you. Okay, we have the science vessel. Take a look.
Select
Terraforming
planet
L
for
class,
terraforming.
which is a jungle world. Stupid hippies, yeah. Okay. Terraforming is still happening. Science vessel's still going. Tyra is still building. Oh, is still building. Okay. The Cardassians have declared war against the Binars. They're the little cyborg guys who were played by dwarfs. Or little people. And we're always in pairs because it's binary. Whatever.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Okay, let's... Okay, a warning from the Cardassians, that's cool. Oh, the science vessel had gone to another system. Nothing terribly interesting, go there. Okay.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Bajoran Jalanda Forum is a model of open discourse, which can only improve relations between Federation members.
And we have the Bajorans, which if you follow Star Trek, you are probably familiar with. The Bajorans start with a pretty favorable attitude towards the Federation, as a lot of minor races do. So we'll see if we can get in good with them.
Terraforming completed.
Yeah, Bajor. They're already receptive. Let's just try a friendship treaty. Let's give them a little bit of wingway. We can change the tone of these proposals. Was that the same actor who played Kai Wynn? I don't think I've seen Kai Wynn here. This definitely does not look like Kai Wynn. We can change the tone. I'm not sure what that does. Oh, you probably mean the Akamarians. I don't believe so. We should give them a gift, though. But take a look. Maybe I'm wrong. Doesn't look like the same woman. Although she's doing kind of the same thing. Science vessel, keep going. Getting the Akamarians on board would be very useful. So close to us. The Shellyak are always going to be a-holes. Leave them alone.
This system will be colonized.
And we'll colonize Triacus.
This system is now Federation territory.
So for the minor races also, remember how we started with only Sol? The Vulcans are a minor race we can find, even though we're already the Federation. That said, they're good to join up with us quickly if we come across them. Okay, and okay, thank you, Kirkula. Alright. Sol, how's it going? On my cruiser. And then let's get some research going. Structures. I'm not generating any research, are you kidding me? Okay. I have to assign my people, I was not aware of this. There's no growth, we don't have anything to do with growth, so might as well put those people on research. Nope. Okay, right. So after this, let's get... Building more mass replicators doesn't do anything for us, because we're already not using all of them. Probably just want more ships. The maintenance cost of 23... Yeah, let's... do more colony ships. Let's grow, baby. Okay. Science vessel is going, yeah, and Triacus. Nope. Get a mass replicator. Alright, how's it going?
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Yep, Bajorn's accepted the friendship proposal immediately. Awesome. Who else do we have? Okay, they're receptive. We'll get a friendship proposal. Little bit of cheddar. And then there's an affiliation, and then there's a membership. I did not remember that there was an additional stage in there. Science vessel. Yeah, another system. We probably want a few of these colony ships. Abu. That is a pretty good place. Why don't you just look more that way?
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Malcorians rejected the affiliation proposal. Okay. Not certain they can make. Ooh, and the Ferengi want us to go to war with the Cardassians. That's okay.
Treaty will be rejected.
I'm gonna hold off on that. So let's also get a science vessel, another one so we can look in the other direction. That one? Oh, I forgot about this too. Okay, so this game also has a ship range that I forgot about. So you see that down here in the lower right, our science vessel has a galactic range long. That's how far away from your territory it can get. The light cruiser has a galactic range medium. It can't go farther than that. And you see these things also on the map here with the colored lines. So the galactic cruisers, or the light cruisers, can only go this far, out to the yellow line. So that means that if you're going to conquer somebody, you need to be moving your supply lines up. Which means taking territory. Yeah. It kind of makes sense, but also it's kind of obnoxious. Okay, science vessel. Let's go there then. I forgot about that. Okay. Oh, we good? Bruh. Okay. Well. Alright, somebody stole some money from us because our intelligence sucks.
Report received from intelligence services.
Yeah, the 4X. Yep, that's how it works. But we're the Federation, so we also want people to, maybe we expect them to join us. Still going. Okay. Syra built the replicator, so now they can actually do stuff. Yeah, and some other buildings in the system that are determined by the planets in the system. So because there's an ocean planet here, we can build an aquaculture center. I think does that have an energy cost, or does it just give us free food? That takes a bit to build, so not yet. All's going. Alright. Ray Lab is nothing. Colony ship can go medium. Yeah, Stray Lab's a better one. Oh, and the Ferengi pushed up. So now, although the system, I think Invernia was supposed to be in our territory before, now it's conflicted. So we can go there. Or no, we can't go there. And neither can the Ferengi, because we have that piece. Science vessel, some other mysterious race. Let's go check that out. Minor race ship, Talar. Let's run. The Talarians, you might remember, are from the episode where they have a human they took from a attack on a Federation colony who they've raised as Talarian. And they end up leaving him with the Talarians, even though he's made aware that he's human. Okay, so why don't you get the hell out?
Understood.
They died.
A task force has been destroyed. An alien culture has been discovered.
The Talarians are skilled warriors and highly territorial. We should approach them with caution and respect.
Okay.
Diplomatic messages have been received.
Federation citizens mildly displeased that one of our ships was exploded. And the Cardassians offer a friendship treaty. Yeah. Okay.
Treaty will be accepted.
Well, we always need more science vessels, don't we? Already building one. Okay. Okay.
Select planet for terraforming.
Go ahead and get that other guy so we can get the energy bonus. And our science vessel. Okay. Go take a look.
Terraforming completed.
Okay, and the other two powers we know are at war with each other. That's what we like. Don't come after us. Oh, found a black hole. That is the top of the galaxy right there, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so this is a report that comes in that says the Ferengi were stealing stuff from the Sheliak and blaming us. So this worsens our reputation with the Sheliak. It is possible that this is a frame job and somebody else is framing the Ferengi for it.
Diplomatic messages have been received. Report received from intelligence services.
Cardassians propose a war pact with us. Declaring war, the Federation people hate. That makes your popularity go down a fair bit. We probably will not accept that war pact.
Treaty will be rejected.
The Ferengi demand we give them money.
Treaty
I don't know
will
why we
be
would do
rejected.
that. Okay. Eladrel, anything there? That is a good system. We'd have to, because it's outside of the medium range, we'd have to colonize Costalain to get a colony ship there. Admiral Nog, I love your name. Welcome. Yeah. I have 13 old Star Trek games. I spin a wheel and I play the one that comes up for 40 minutes, plus whatever time is added to the clock. And then I go through a few games a night when I do this. I don't think there's quality build. Yeah, you're still going. Okay. But yeah, I had this game 20-something years ago. Almost 30 years ago. Played it a fair bit. Go get Costalain so we can get Eladrel and Regula. They're M. Awesome. Okay. Look. Yeah, that's just what we did. Okay. Soul system build queue empty. Colony ship built. I did something to the view here, didn't I? Yeah, okay. Alright. Another colony ship ready to go. Azor, Akmar both inhabited. Elia. 1. Okay. Build another one really quick. Let's go ahead and get Angel 1. So, moment anybody turns on us, we're toast. Go ahead and get us another. Sure. Take a look.
An alien culture has been discovered.
The Mazarians are absolute pacifists. Apparently, this is the main reason that they've survived the last few centuries.
So the Mazarians, I think we only ever see in the episode of Next Gen where Picard is basically taken to a internment with 3 other people who all supposedly have different political philosophies or anger levels or something of some kind, and works through it with them. The Mazarians are the totally peaceful ones. I'm not sure if it's ever stated if they're Federation members or not. But here in this game, they are not. They're only medium. I didn't expect that. I thought they were more. Okay. So let's talk to the Mazarians. Give them some money. Yeah, they were kind of lab rats, and spoilers, it turns out that one of the people involved in the experiment is actually an agent of the people running the experiment. They switched out Picard. Yes, I forgot about that. They put a fake Picard on the ship during that time, who then the crew gradually figures out that, hey, yo, this ain't the real dude. This vessel. Go check out this other green. We are past the time for our 4th game period of the night, and I am going to have to go to sleep soon, I'm afraid. Go ahead and save.
Selection confirmed. Saving.
Yeah, sleep, what's that? I know. But yeah, I think that'll do it for tonight. We did Armada, we did Hidden Evil, and we finished it up with Birth of the Federation. We also did a second run of Armada because we went back to them. But thank you for joining me tonight.